that very, very important conversation that you have been looking forward to. When we're talking about finances, you sort of get some goosebumps. If not goosebumps, then, it literally awakens you for a moment and you realize that, oh, okay, in as much as you have plenty right now, it's important that you plan for the future so that then in future you do not lack, that financial freedom. And it's been a big question as to how then we can generally attain financial freedom. The previous conversation has been about the country and how as a country then we get to this very space. And so it's a conversation that we'll constantly have just so we get it right. And sometimes we don't say that we get it right in totality, but even getting it right at the moment that you're in is very, very important, because that's what guarantees you financial freedom when the future then knocks in. And so as we get into this very important conversation, we ask that you part and parcel of it. It is good that we just get to understand how best, and this in a professional perspective, how best we can manage our finances. You perhaps have not had a chance to speak to, a financial advisor. You could take advantage of this very moment because it will be very instrumental for you. You pick lessons that you would not get anywhere, or if you have to get anywhere, then you will pay for. And Caroline Karanja joins us for this very important conversation, a social entrepreneur and finance professional. Do you always get it right with your finances, you people who are professionals?
No, Linda.
Yeah?
You don't always get it right, because sometimes you plan, you have everything figured out, but there are other things that you didn't plan for,
right?
That come about.
Yes,
definitely.
The impromptus, the miscellaneous ones, and all that,
and emergencies. But when they come and you had planned, you find yourself at the end of the year, when you look at how you've been able to move forward, you are at 80% or above because you planned. Then the 20% is the oops.
So it's better if you plan.
It is always best.
You plan to fail, you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's what they say. So let's talk about financial planning and the importance of it. And sometimes I'll tell you this, I have sat down with, finance experts. They have taken me through the process, but somehow you just find yourself forgetting about them. And so in my own opinion, it's always important for us to constantly have these conversations, that sometimes what you were planning for then is totally different from what you're planning for in 2023. And so just having this conversation is very, very important. So just what is financial planning and how important is it?
First of all, financial planning is as simple as it is for me, I would narrow it down to looking at your expenses versus your income. Then you can be able to, and also incorporate your goals. What do you want to achieve? Then how is it important? It's important for you to do your financial planning because then you can be able to project your growth. Without a plan at all, you're not able to project your goal. Right. Every year, and especially maybe some did their goals in December, others will be doing in January, by the end of January. You're looking at their personal, achievement that you're looking forward to. You're always looking at continuous improvement. You don't want to be just there. If you're walking, you want to drive. If you're driving a small car, maybe you want to drive a big car. Maybe you don't have investment put in place. Maybe you don't have a retirement put in place. So that planning aspect really gives you the oversight. How long will it take for me to be able to achieve my goal? Because this is the income. These are my current expenses. What is the value that I'm creating for myself? More often we work for corporates. And we always have these budgets. And have you gone to your finance manager and said, oh, we need this? And they say, was it in the budget? No. You wait for the next budget. But for an individual, we don't do budgets. We just know that I'm earning 100,000. Oh, this goes to rent, this goes to my personal grooming, this goes to my school fees and bus.
But sometimes some of these things are so clear in your mind, like you rightfully put it. Sometimes you get into the supermarket and you know what it is that you want to pick, and you know that roughly last month this is how much it costed. So kama imeongezeka, it should be something small, or kama ime reduce, it should be something small. And so you budget, okay, well, if not budget aside, you take money that is within this very range. So one would tell you that what is the essence? You already know that my 100,000 goes to this, that. So why should I have to bother myself sitting down, keeping records, writing this and that,
and wasting time doing all that? I'll give my personal experience. As a finance person, does not mean that we always get it right.
Yeah.
So I was in that habit before. Definitely, I know this is the much I earn, and so I figured out my expense. It's not written anywhere. But money also gives us emotions.
Okay.
Have you ever had friends that have medical bills or funeral expenses? And you look at yourself and say, for Linda, I can't contribute 1,000.
Yeah.
But very well you know that you planned within your income, you can only give 1,000 to 5 people.
Okay.
Then I decide, Linda, I'm going to give her 5,000. It is February.
Okay.
What happens in August when Rachel and Patrick are bereaved?
Okay.
So about 2011, that's 12 years ago, is when I realized, Caroline, you can't keep joking. Because what happens that at the end of the year, you find that you have borrowed money for consumption. You're not growing. And so 2011, I started putting my goals versus my budget. This is what I want to achieve. And therefore, I did a 10-year spread. I know this is for the next 2 years, the next 3 years, the next 5 years, and the next 10 years. So once in a while, I'll go back and see, I still have this big dream that I want to achieve. And like they say, when you write your goal down or your dream, it comes to pass.
Yeah.
The universe somehow conspires
Yeah.
to help you achieve. In 2015, I started doing these 2 tools, which are very important, a monthly budget and a personal balance sheet. Why would I do a balance sheet for the company and I'm not doing my own balance sheet? And I was 60% liabilities with regards to my total assets. That was January 2015.
Okay.
I looked at my liabilities versus it was at 60%. And at that moment, when you do your personal balance sheet, it starts telling you, okay, so how do I get there? When you do your plan, it gives you innovation, creativity. Your mind already starts working for you and your brain starts working for you. What can I do? Is it cost that I'm going to reduce? Is it other revenue generation that I'm going to implement? And therefore that journey took me 7 years, because when I looked at my last, I do it this every January. In January 2022, in 2015, I was at 60% in terms of liabilities. In January 2022, my liabilities were at 15% of the total assets.
Okay.
Note that 60% was bad debt.
Yes. And just what is bad debt? I think we've had a session with that and we still need to do that. Just what is bad debt in this case?
Bad debt is debt that you acquire for consumption. I have contributed to things that I know they are not adding
Any value? They're
value.
Not necessary.
They are not making.
It's just that you have access to credit.
Is that because that aspect of, I know I am supposed to go to the supermarket and do a shopping of 15,000,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And therefore things that come that you didn't plan. And then the emotions about spending. Oh, we are going to Naivasha. Even me, I can think I can join that. I can join in that team. Yeah? And so by 2022 January, you know, you look at your personal balance statement and you are impressed. And that is something that I can tap myself, because 15% was investment debt.
Well, interesting.
Yeah.
A debt that wasn't necessary, well, was good. You
Was good.
invest and then you get something in return.
Exactly.
Okay.
And my survival, you know when you do a personal balance sheet, is your total asset, your net asset versus your monthly budget. How many months can you survive? So 2015, I could only survive 5 months.
Thereafter.
After.
In case you do not have an income and all that.
In case, and I have liquidated my liquid asset, I have liquidated my fixed asset, 5 months. 2022 January, it turned out to be 31 months.
Wow.
And you see, it's not something that at every time I was so stressed looking at it, but that aspect of just doing it at the beginning of the year and say, this is where I am, what can I do? And then you write it down. It just comes so easily, because now you're conscious. Now, even those things that come in between that you didn't plan, you find yourself you're at 90% by the time you end the year. So the budget and the personal balance sheet.
Very important.
Very important.
How does one create one? I mean, one would want to understand the budget is straight, the balance sheet.
The personal balance sheet, you see, we have assets. Yeah. You have liquid assets. A member of a SACCO, you have T-bills, bonds. Those goes, I mean, people who owe you, those are debts. Those goes to your liquid asset. So you write them down and you put the value of everything that this is money. You have land. You could probably have property. You put it down. So your liquid asset and your fixed asset make your total asset. And then come to the other aspect of liabilities. These personal liabilities, which is, say you have soft loans for consumption, and then there could be investment liabilities. You took a loan to start up a business or to acquire that property. So that becomes an investment. So the difference between your net asset and liabilities gives you at the bottom line, what is your net asset? Now pick your net asset and then you have your budget, which is the income versus your monthly expense. And when we are doing budget, I would like to say, be as neat to the small things, including garbage collection.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't put such things. Garbage, token, such things. Yeah, try, because with every year, it will go improving, because you say, last year I spent on this, and then you can have a tracker and add, because that budget you will just be reviewing and adding. And then also consider inflation. As a rule, put 10% as minimum. So every year, your budget, if you're spending 200, you should add minimum 10%. Because there will be inflation.
Okay.
Right? And then again, your lifestyle changes. You want it to improve.
Yeah.
So how will you create value if you don't,
make adjustments also to
make adjustment to it? Because, I mean, if you're going to Shags for Christmas, you may want to take your whole family to Mombasa.
Yeah.
So those are adjustments that you need to make. And I have seen that really works, because it again gives you that mindset of being conscious. And what that does for you, you maximize your personal value.
Yeah.
And then you have growth.
Good. And Tito Mudhoni is asking, Linda, kindly ask Caroline if one should start planning, even in times when they do not have a job, maybe they do not have an income, there's no money circulating, but they're hopeful, of course, for a better, tomorrow.
Of course, yes.
So you
they don't have,
that you do not have. Okay.
Because they have dreams. Most of the time we have these dreams that we don't put the financial plan against it. She's not working right now, but she hopes to start working. Where does she want to live? What will be the rental that she expects? So that even as you're looking for a job, you already know this is the income that I need to sustain. Not to say if you get a job that is less or a business that is bringing less, you will not take it, but you will continue making those adjustments. Okay. So without a financial plan, then you will just be throwing that everywhere, because I mean, anything that comes, if I get a 20,000 and I wanted to live in Kileleshwa, how will I be able? Then I'll become miserable, and you know what that does.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you go, Tito, you've heard it. So it's 2023, there's that excitement of, oh, this is now the year, how do I plan for my year? Like you've said, there are some of us who planned in December or maybe the end of last year. There are some of us who have planned, beginning of the year. At what time is one supposed to do some of this planning? And just how different is the beginning of the year in relation to any other time? And I mean, this is seen even in, businesses where you are being told that we have to review, we have to make adjustments, we have to, lay off some people, we have to maintain this, we have to slash the salaries and all that.
Well, planning depends, Linda, with what is your financial year. Naturally, people take January to be the financial year, but it could be for you, it's April.
Okay.
Every April. But as long as within 12 months, every April, and you have your reason. Maybe that's when you get your pay rise. and you want to put your financial plan within, maybe that's when you get a big bonus or a dividend. That's when you want, because if you don't plan for it, then it will just come and pass.
Yeah.
So January, because it's a new year and there's this excitement of a new year, 2023 or 2024 or 2022, it brings also the excitement, and you know, as human beings, the emotions also are really at play.
Yeah.
Yeah. So January would be best, but not to say that you can't plan any month, any other time with your reason. It could be August, but make sure that every August you evaluate what was your monthly budget versus also do your personal balance sheet. Yes.
All right. How do you achieve a plan that is good enough to align with your, say, resolutions, now that we're talking about the new years and all that? And I mean, that perhaps would require a proper understanding of what you want to achieve, like you rightfully put it. But just how do you align them to that? Because sometimes the plans that we have, you know, are way bigger than the finances that we actually have.
Well, the plans you have should be big enough.
Always.
Always. When I first created my personal financial goal, I mean, I had goals, and then when I put them into figures, it was scary. And it has to be scary now for you to be able to give that motivation to be able to push through. And most of the time, I know most people, their personal, even their monthly budget, usually at the net there at the bottom, is usually negative. But that not to say that you should not do, because it's usually negative. Because when you look at your personal goal, you will have one sheet. These are the goals that I want to achieve. What will it cost? Then you put against that the amount. Then you have the total. Say you have 10 million. Because you have listed your asset, your investment, your personal, and then it comes to 10 million. Then you will take that 10 million and say, this is my financial goal. How long? Maybe I'm earning only 1 million in a year. So it will take me 10 years. But when you plan for it, you will realize that you will achieve it even before that 10 years. Because every year as you're doing your personal, it gives you that creativity and innovation where you tell yourself, I have free time. There is another, you know, asset balance sheet that you do, a non-financial balance sheet, where you say, how can I use my skills? What can I do to be able to supplement and to be able for me to be able to achieve this goal? So your goals is one sheet, and then the budget, another sheet, and then you break down to the monthly, because now you can see, where am I spending that I can be able to cut? Where can I increase my income? Okay. Yeah.
All right. So there is this one big debate about the needs and the wants. And most of the times they appear to be more or less the same. And like you rightfully put it, there's the involvement of emotions. And also there's the involvement of other people that are really important to you. So how do you budget for, you know, the needs versus the wants?
I think you need to budget for everything.
Okay.
Because there's the needs. And most of the time, personally, when I budget, I look at these are the needs. And my needs will not always be the things that you will find. There would be other things that I want to do that are big, audacious goals. And of course, someone may say those are wants, because it depends with your own personal, you know, desire. You know, a shoe for you, it can be a need, but for me, it may be a want, because maybe I have other 10 pairs. But you know, sometimes we get sleepless nights if you didn't do that want that you wanted. Forget it's a need.
Yes.
But you get a sleepless night, you didn't achieve that want that you wanted. What do you want your mind to be destabilized such that you are not even productive?
Just because of a want.
Because of a want?
Okay.
Yeah. So you plan for them.
All right.
And that's why I said, when you plan, at the end of the year, you will be 80% at minimum. Yeah, because it will cover the needs and the wants.
And the wants. Is it okay to sometimes say that, well, I am getting very little money, but then I want as good as entertainment? should be featured in my planning. I mean, and I have had friends who say, well, we're almost getting the same amount of money. To me, there's no way you can be even thinking of entertainment with this little money that you are getting. But to somebody else, because of their planning, they have set aside something small for, you know, entertainment and a couple of other things that would appear as wants in the face of other people. So in such a case, do you say that this is a bit reckless in terms of planning, or it is in order?
It is in order to plan for your entertainment. How do you again, you know, get yourself out? And you know, entertainment is different to all of us. For me, entertainment could be to go and play piano.
Yeah.
So, and then that statement of saying I have little money is a negative statement that you're already telling yourself. Learn to have, you know, that love with money. This is what I have right now. My budget allows me for entertainment in Westlands, but next I would want, my wish is to have entertainment abroad.
So think about that and work towards that.
Yeah, never tell yourself that I earn so little, my pay is low. Those are negative energies that you're already drawing to yourself that will work against you.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, well, we take a quick short break and get to understand just how important it is for you to seek the advice of professionals, because sometimes you want to assume that, well, out of what you have watched online, the little knowledge that you once studied, you know, in campus, it gets you thinking that you really understand. But sometimes you're told it's good to just seek a professional advice. These people will be helpful. It could be expensive, but at the end of the day, it saves you a great deal. So we take a short break and then we come back with more.
The secret to an instant glow and spotless skin. Acne C10 is a 10% pure vitamin C serum that effectively fades dark spots and clears dark patches. With a unique formulation, it is quickly absorbed deep into the skin to give optimal results. Acne C10, 10% pure vitamin C serum, safe on all skin types.
Are you looking for a college that will impact your practical skill sets? Tristan School of Medical Health and Science Technology offers market-driven programs in diploma and certificate levels in the schools of health sciences, social sciences, applied sciences, and business and informatics. Enroll for our January 2023 intake to enjoy seamless student experience. You deserve qualified faculty leadership to set a good guide for your career. Tristan School of Medical Health and Science Technology, partners in your journey to excellence.
All right, we're back and we are talking finances and just how you can get your resolutions right, especially now that it's 2023 January. And let's just face it, you know, there's something about the new year that is so special from any other time. While the advisor here will tell you, you know, you can make your new year to be your June, perhaps that's your birthday. You can make your new year to be, you know, November. There's just something about the actual new year that gets you thinking, now this year I want to do it different, or this year I want to begin. And perhaps that's the reason why she speaks of 2011 and 2015 and now right now and the differences that she has made financially. So as we speak of these resolutions that you're supposed to do financially, we hope that you could be part and parcel of the conversation. Ask us any questions, and Caroline Karanja, who's a social entrepreneur and as well a finance professional, would be here to guide you. The hashtag is Morning Cafe at Linda_Lela TV47KE. And so we come back to this space where we say that now, well, of course, it's the New Year's and you have to plan for all these other things. But sometimes you tend to ignore the importance of engaging a professional. And, you know, you sort of feel like you have it figured out, or maybe you've got an advice from your mom or from your siblings or from your, your elder brothers and sisters, and you sort of feel like, you know what, that advice from them is good enough. Just how instrumental is a financial advisor for those ones that, first of all, are actually running companies, and as well, you as an individual?
Okay, thank you, Linda. It's very important because, with planning, if I plan for myself, everything is like I know everything, but definitely there's no one who has monopoly of knowledge. And we have experts out there. That's why when you want to construct a house, you look for a specific. Because otherwise you can be able to actually draw and tell them, I want my room to be this 3-bedroom, and I want this size of a living room. You already have the picture.
Yeah.
But the expert, when it comes to finances, helps you to narrow down and quickly, and give you the right tools.
Okay.
Quickly to go on point and be able to achieve. Because they will be able to look at, this is the income you have, and these are the budgets. So what can you do to be able to achieve? And with that guidance, you are able to achieve what you want to achieve faster. Yeah.
All right.
Efficiently.
Efficiently.
Yes.
Efficiently is actually
Efficiently is the word.
Right. And sometimes we really do not know how to create a balance. And we've talked about the needs and the wants. But we're not always very clear on what really is a need and what really is a want in such a case. And especially for those ones that are just getting into a space where they're now earning some little money, or maybe they've gotten into the job space, or they have started, their startups, and they appear to be doing so well. How do you get to understand what then would be a need and what would be a want? And like you rightfully say, sometimes you get to, a professional who will tell you it's fine, you have all this figured out, but perhaps this would be priority, this would not be.
Okay. A need is something that you must have. Without it, then life stops. It's like saying without oxygen, then you don't breathe. A want is something that you can have it or not. If you don't have it, life does not stop. And that becomes a want.
Yeah.
It just makes it feel, they feel good. But it doesn't mean that if I don't get it, I will not be able to move forward.
Right.
And therefore, when you're looking at your finances, what are the most important, the basic needs that is a must? Food, shelter, clothing, if you have kids, school fees, and all that. And then it comes to the other aspect of what are the wants. The wants, entertainment, 10 pairs of shoes, the personal things that you want. You also list them down and you list the budget, because at the end of the day, these wants, even if you don't want to ignore them, because they will cause you some, attitude, mental breakdown, and emotions also. Because we relate with people, and relationship also really affect our finances. So you also budget for them, and then you look at, if my entertainment, because it is a want, and it's a need at the same time, depending if you're in business, entertainment is also very important, because maybe that's where now you go to meet your clients. You look at what is the budget that I will put, because there are so many diverse areas that you can be able to meet. You can go high end, you can go moderate, you can go medium. So you start where, and don't compromise on quality. You can start low, and as you elevate your financial and its balancing, you can go to moderate. The thing is to balance your needs, wants with your finances. Okay,
and in that we are told that every time you're working on a plan, very important that you are keen on saving, which is a culture not inculcated in many of us, or if inculcated, we have some reservations, because then of course, like you rightfully say, the finances are tough, first of all, to get, and even when you get them, the needs are more, literally these ones are genuine needs. More than it is that we can manage ourselves, and therefore you run into debt. And so if you run into debt, just what is the guarantee of saving? How do we inculcate this habit that you say, fine, you could run into bad debt, you could run into good debt, but in all that, there's some investment somewhere. In all that, there's some savings somewhere.
Linda, when we started, I said, in terms of planning, when you do your personal balance sheet at the beginning, it gives you a mindset change. That mindset change is actually the one that drives you and motivates you. Because many people will tell you, literally, I have no money to save. But remember, if you planned to save, even if it's 500 shilling, you know, right now I can only save in a circle 500 shillings. Next year, you will improve on that. And that's why I started by saying my own personal experience, 60% liabilities was quite high. Bad debt, savings were very little. But right now it shows when it is 15% and it's investment debt, there is saving, of course, there is retirement, because you never know when will the income stop coming and how will you survive. So you have really to say, to plan and say, it has to fit within my budget. And when you have that negative balance, then ask yourself, what can I do? The what can I do is the one that now pushes you to growth level. Because you start thinking income and don't have more income and then more expenditure. But because you plan and you said savings, don't do percentage. Do the saving according to your current status. Because your current status may not be the other person's current status, where they say save 30%. Yeah, you will not save 30% and you have bad debt. You will first clear the bad debt. And when it comes to actually, when you involve a financial planner, they will be able to tell you sometimes even those investment loans can be bad debts. You'll find that someone is in a circle, they have taken a very expensive credit facility, while there was an option to take a cheaper facility. Why do you want to subject yourself to expensive credit? So you start, it all starts with planning and looking at how can I be able to improve my value at the end.
Clearing off debt is very, very important, but sometimes we tend to overlook that. And so one would want to understand just how best should one, first of all, start off, you know, making sure that they reliably pay off their debts. There are instances where you take money from Peter to pay Paul, and that is clearance. And you know the temptation gets you round and round. You take from this digital debt platform to pay the other one. So by the time it's time to pay this one, then you've taken from another to pay. So how do you smoothly and you know, properly get into that space of payment of debt so that you get yourself off the hook to get it right? I mean, that's exactly what we're doing as a country today.
Just paying the debt.
It has to be paid.
You have to pay your debts. Start by planning and say, the first thing I want to get rid of is pay off debts. When you're paying off debts, you start, maybe I owe Linda. Linda is not charging me an interest. I'll talk to Linda. I say, Linda, I know I owe you, but give me this couple of months, so that you start, first of all, with the debt that is really consuming your finances. And that will be debt that is incurring.
Senate committee led by Boni Halwale, Senator for.
I have seen people drown themselves into debt because they have taken this quick, you know, mobile debts. And then you're charged a whole 10%. Whereas the only thing you are avoiding is to go to your circle, get, you know, a lower 1%, you know, 1% per month vis-a-vis 10%. What makes you think that when you take the 10%, for 20,000, you will be able to pay if you were not able to have that 20,000 at that particular time to fix the emergencies that we didn't plan for. Remember, we said we can fix, we can plan, but it does not always come to 100%. So you end up now being drowned into debt, and then your mindset is messed up, you're frustrated. And when you're frustrated, you're not in your right frame of mind, you start also doing bad habits, spending even more because you're trying to console yourself.
Okay, well, that's quite interesting. And therefore, how do you align yourself, especially for those ones that are running companies, you know, to separate company money or small business money from your own money, because it can be quite confusing. And let's just talk about those ones that run small businesses, that this all goes to your, you know, M-Pesa say, or this all goes to your bank. Sometimes it's not clear, you know, what goes where, what does not go anywhere, to this other direction. And it's even worse when you find that people are working and, you know, they channel all this money towards boosting the business as opposed to even getting to a space where they can pay themselves.
Yep. When you are in a business, remember when you start a business, sometimes it's not able to pay you as much as you would want it to pay you. But you have to separate, pay yourself a salary.
Yes.
Then live within that salary, because assume that business is not yours. You are employed to run the business, because as the owner of the business, you also have a position that you have taken in that business. Pay yourself, because it will make you realize this business is not able to pay me, and therefore what do I need to do for the business to grow? As the business grow, you also pay yourself more, and you can be able to budget. So you separate your personal financial balance sheet and the business balance sheet.
All right.
Again, if you're able to separate, you will avoid issues like, you know, the tax man, because you're able to separate, and you don't run into this where the business now is not liquid because you drew so much on the other side. Yeah.
All right.
And the cash flow, you know.
Wow, that's important. So what do we carry home today in terms of, you know, the year, general perspective of the aspect of financing, and beyond the year, just the importance of having proper planning when it comes to finances?
Well, I think it narrowed down to two things. Let's start doing our personal balance sheet so that we can be able to determine what is our current status, and then we can be able to work there to be able to maximize our value. People maximize their value for the business, value for the corporate. But how do you maximize your value? Unless you do this personal balance sheet, and you see, if I'm able to move from 5 months next year to 8 months next year, because of this consciousness, over the year it comes like your second skin. So it's so easy. And you realize that there is growth.
Yeah.
And when there's growth, you're happy, you're content, and you're able to achieve even more. That's why they say it rains in the ocean.
Yeah.
Because you have been able to set that standard and you're at another level. So let us use these tools.
Yes.
The monthly budget and our personal balance sheet. If you're running a business, separate the two.
Okay.
Completely.
Completely.
The money will go to the account for the business. Then let the business pay you a salary.
If it is not, you have to relook into.
If it is not able to pay you, then now it will make you now look into what can I do in this business to be able to have growth.
Okay.
At the end of the day, personal financial planning will really influence us in terms of the income and in terms of the impact that we make.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Caroline Karanja, social entrepreneur as well as financial advisor. It was good having you this morning. I hope that then we take tips that are very, very important to grow us. You know, most importantly, you always want to just, you know, get to understand what space you're in, how safe it is, and we certainly hope that it will be a good year financially for you. We all are looking forward to that space where we're going to attain financial freedom. It's a journey and we have to work together. Asante sana for speaking to us and for the great insights. We shift gears briefly and of course a special report on the spotlight of Mwangaza by our very own, that is Moige William. So we'll leave you with that special feature as we look forward to see you again tomorrow. My name is Linda Alela. Do have yourself a lovely day ahead.
Senate committee led by Boni Halwale, Senator for Kakamega, saved Kawira Mwangaza, the third governor of Meru County, from an impeachment by MCAs drawn from the Meru County Assembly. Weeks later, we are joined by Kyogora, DMK, who's the move of the motion to impeach Kawira Mwangaza. The Senate made its decision. As the move of the motion, what are your sentiments to this issue?
Thank you very much. I'd like to welcome TV47 to the Kenya Lift program offices. Here we help students to go study in the United States. And now back to the topic. I disagree with the Senate Committee on the impeachment of the Meru Governor Kawira Mwangaza on their decision not to find any charges substantiated that we labeled against the governor. Principally because the president came out last week to say that he is the one who intervened to help the governor from impeachment. Then the chair of the Council of Governors came out yesterday in Nanyuki and confirmed the same and thanked the president for saving one of their own, because it could maybe have a boomerang effect whereby if Meru is confirmed, then the other MCAs maybe follow suit in doing it, and there is an outbreak of impeachment in the country. So she thanked the president for it. So I don't agree with it, because from the onset they seemed to have a predetermined mind. They were very hostile to our side, to the county assembly, especially to our lawyers. They were very hostile, and even questioning their credibility and all that. And so they had come there to exonerate the governor, not to look at the substance of the matter that was before them. That notwithstanding, we have now another opportunity, of course, to reconcile and see a working formula.
Reconcile or again impeach? Now that it was a predetermined case, as you say.
Yes. What we also came to find out is that from our own intelligence sources, is that they spoke with her and told her they are going to save her, because she pleaded to the president anyway to be saved, and the deputy president, and that she is going to have a working formula for the county. And then they gave her a condition that in case she is impeached again, they are not going to help her. So for her, it's a do or do issue. So one way or the other, we have to work. We also don't want to be malicious, because she has been given her last warning. We bring her there without her cause. Our interest is working for the Meru people, so we expect that she is going to change and stop what she was doing in Meru. Because if there were no mistakes, there would be no need for saving. Our case would have been given its way, and it could have flowed, because maybe if it did not have any weight. But because the case our case under a lot of weight, the president and the deputy president had to intervene to save her, because of these reasons, like the interventions from the Council of Governors. Then there are also issues to do with her not having been in office for a long time. And then they wanted to give her another chance to, because of the finality of an impeachment. Because once you're impeached, your political career ends there.
Moving on, some were arguing that you are prosecuting your case against Kawira Mwangaza on the basis that she is a female leader.
Yeah, I have heard that notion from many people, but that was not the case. Because if it was about her being a woman, then the 23 MCAs in the county assembly who are women, 24 actually, could not have voted to impeach a fellow woman on the basis of gender. Actually, the person we were very much also against, when you read our charges, is the husband. The husband has been playing public duties and is not the one who is elected. So it was our feeling that the husband should let the wife let her be the governor, leave her alone. And because the husband has been stirring trouble, the husband is there to be seen, not to be heard. He should just stay at home. You know, the way they were doing the protocol, whenever they went out for the public rallies, the deputy governor would speak, then the husband, then the governor. It should not be like that. Even at the national level, you don't see the deputy president speaking, then the first lady, then the president. The first ladies are there to be seen, not to be heard. Even in the county, the first gentleman is there to be seen, not to be heard, because he is not elected by anybody. So he has been stirring trouble and acting as the gatekeeper to the kingdom. Now, that has been one of our problems. So if there was any gender issues in this impeachment, it's against the first gentleman, because he has been one of the stars of these programs.
Moving away from matters impeachment, now we have seen the national government now coming in to intervene on matters Meru County leadership led by the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. What do you make of this?
So yeah, the members of Parliament met the Deputy President early last week. The members of the County Assembly met him yesterday at his home in Mathira, and we told him our side of the story. Then the MPs told their side of the story, Then on Wednesday, he's going to meet the governor herself, and then she's also going to tell her story and all that. And then the deputy president will communicate what has gone on between ourselves and him, and the MPs and him. Then after that, the deputy president proposed that the MPs produce 2 members from their ranks, the assembly produces 4, and the governor produces 4, so that we have a team of 10 people to lead in the negotiations on a working formula with the governor. Throughout this month, and possibly by the end of January, we have a working formula of how the county assembly and the governor can work. So I expect this committee is going to, I'm a member of it, so I expect that we are going to come up with a formula of how the county government is going to be run. Yeah.
Let me put you on the spotlight a little bit, because you are the one who proposed or tabled the motion to remove governor from the office. Are you comfortable with the ongoing talks? What are your concerns, and what do you expect at the end of the day?
I'm comfortable with the talks. I'm not a troubleshooter that I don't want peace. There are people who always want violence. So I'm not just after violence. We also want peace. We want to work for our people. It's only that we began on the wrong footing. So when you're building a house, you realize that you have not done your things where you demolish before it goes far, so that you can begin well. So I think we have been given an opportunity to start rebuilding this house called Meru County, and it's my expectation that we are going to come to an amicable solution, whereby the governor denied us bursaries for school children. She's going to return them to us. She had denied us a say in their own development allocations. I think that one she's going to give back to us, because it's one of the departing points. And also she should stop now working with our political opponents and empowering ward administrators in the wards to to oppose us, and also using the sub-county administrators to fight the MPs. So I think it's one of those things that will have to come to a stop, so that we start working. And we're also ready to now support her in the county assembly, because somehow we were sabotaging also at the county assembly. So from that end, we are going to, it's my expectation that we are going to work together, because we are coming to the negotiating table with open arms, with a clean heart, with a clear mind.
But with
so we
expect.
minimums.
But do you have
we have our bare minimums. Some of the things I've spoken about.
Are you willing to share them with the governor?
We have already shared our bare minimums with her. We wrote a document about we discussed them as MCAs. We give them to the deputy president and told him, these are our bare minimums, give them to the governor. And before she comes to the negotiating table, there are things she needs to put on hold. First of all, is the distribution of bursaries. Before you talk anything, you tell her to stop them. Then she had called the ward administrators and told them to go back, and took them to the wards where they come from, not where they work, so that they can be empowered to come and compete with MCS in 2027. So we asked the governor to redeploy them back to the wards where they were working before we talk. Those are some of the 2 preconditions for any talks between us and her, and I hope she's going to meet them as we meet.
You mentioned something about the national government meddling with while you are prosecuting a case at the Senate, but are you now comfortable with the same national government now being a mediator?
Yeah, so according to the reasons that the national government gave us for meddling, because we asked them why they meddled when we met them. So they gave us reasons, and they told us they want to give her a chance. They also asked us to give her a chance, so that she can prove herself. Otherwise, we said it's okay. Even God gives people a second chance because of the finality nature of an impeachment. Once you're impeached, you can never contest for any election again. So we said it's okay, let's give her a chance and work. So we agreed to have the national government as a mediator, in as much as they interfered in our case, because there is nobody else who can do it. So unless we stop it there, because we can never run away from the national government. The national government can even come in and bring something that what was here in Nairobi, the Nairobi Metropolitan Service, you hear it has been brought in Meru, it's going to affect us. Or you hear the county has been dissolved by the president himself. So that's also going to affect us. So